He exposed a massive scandal within the DOJ. A whistleblower reveals the truth behind the firing of a 15-year veteran who refused to lie in court. What's the real agenda behind the unethical tactics? You're about to see it unravel before your eyes.
Chairman, what we are doing, we are focusing all of our law enforcement agencies on getting these drugs off of our streets. Since I was a state AG, I focused on the opioid crisis. I focused with all of our agencies working hand in hand on the drug crisis. Securing our borders, I believe, was the first step. We will continue to do that. On May 22nd, I believe, Chairman, we announced the success of Operation Raptor, the FBI-led DOJ operation that targeted fentanyl trafficking on the dark web. That's become a huge problem. You know, with added technology now, we have seen drug trafficking increased not only across our borders, not only through the mail, but also on the web. And that's something I believe that we can all work together on. I believe that crosses party lines. That's something that we all need to work together on. We've seized 144 kilos of fentanyl, 180 firearms, and over $200 million in currency and digital assets, working with 9 international partners and arresting 270 drug traffickers across 4 continents. And that was all because of Operation Raptor. On May 6th, we executed the biggest fentanyl bust in DEA's history. We dismantled a Sinaloa cartel that trafficked across 5 states: New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Oregon, and Nevada. We seized 412 kilos of fentanyl pills, 11.5 kilos of fentanyl powder, and 49 illegal firearms. We arrested 16 accused drug traffickers. These cartels, these gangs, are so organized that they insulate their leaders. The leader of this particular cartel was living in Oregon, yet none of the drugs were with him. This was incredible police work by all of our agencies, federal agencies, working hand in hand to track them down. I met in conference rooms. We had charts, and I would invite any of you members on both sides of the aisle to come in and see these investigations of what we are trying to do to get these drugs off our streets. They are so complex, they are so complicated, and what our law enforcement have been doing is really second to none, and I am so proud. They are some of the bravest in the world, and I am so proud at what they have been doing, working with all of our state and local partners to eradicate these drugs. My point of that was in Oregon, was the leader of this particular Sinaloa gang, and again, he insulated himself. But we were able to catch him thanks to great police work, and we will continue to do that.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thanks for the invitation. I hope we can take you up on that. During his hearing before us, FBI Director Patel indicated a lot of precursor chemicals that originated in China are now going to terrorist organizations that reroute the precursors into our country through the northern border. What can you say about that?
Yes, Chairman, that's accurate. You know, I've been fighting this fentanyl epidemic since I was a state AG, when it really first came on the market. Ironically, I was recently in Poland at a security conference with all of my counterparts around the world, and I will never forget something they said to me. My counterpart in Poland said, fentanyl isn't here yet, because they protect their borders. And yes, the northern border is now a great concern. to all of us. I would think to everyone on this committee. And yeah, that's a great concern, but we will continue to do that. We are fighting to protect those precursors from coming in, as we know. And what they keep doing is they're changing the precursors, and they continue to change them, and they continue to send them through Mexico, through Canada, on ships, through our ports of entry, into our country. But that's something we have to all work together on to stop. I went to our DEA lab. I met with our DEA. It only takes, it looks like almost 2 grains of salt. I had them put sodium chloride in a little bottle so I could show people. That's what it takes to kill you. And that's what our kids are taking. They don't realize that it is mixed. They think they're buying a Xanax, an Adderall, I can't say this enough, an oxycodone pill. They think they are buying something else, and this junk is being laced, this poison, into these pills throughout our country. And that's something I feel like we can all work together on to try to stop. But yes, that was, a very long answer to yes, it's coming in through our northern border, but we are doing everything we can to secure that. We are working with Homeland Security very closely, and they're doing an incredible job on that as well, Chairman.
What you just witnessed is a shocking example of corruption that's been hidden from the American public. The story of Arez Ruveni, a whistleblower who filed a complaint against the Department of Justice, is just the tip of the iceberg. This isn't just about one man losing his job. It's about the entire system protecting itself, no matter who gets hurt along the way. Let's break it down. Arez Ruveni was fired after refusing to sign an untruthful statement in a court case. He didn't want to lie, and because of that, he was terminated. But the real scandal isn't just the firing, it's the culture of deception within the DOJ that this incident exposes. When the Attorney General is asked about this firing, she can't address it directly because it's part of pending litigation. Instead, she deflects, focusing on the timing of the complaint, implying that it's a coincidence, right when Amal Boy, a top DOJ figure, is up for a federal judge position. Here's the problem. The timing isn't the issue here. The real issue is the institutional corruption that forces honest people like Ruveni to make impossible choices, betray their oath, or lose their career. Ruveni was a dedicated 15-year veteran, yet he was tossed aside for doing the right thing. And what's even more disturbing is that others within the DOJ and other government agencies are speaking up about the unethical pressure they faced, pressure to lie, mislead, and distort the truth. But it doesn't stop there. The whistleblower's account highlights a larger systemic issue at play. The DOJ isn't just a legal institution. It's a machine that serves itself at the cost of those who uphold its integrity. When push comes to shove, it's about protecting political interests and institutional power, not about justice. This is not just a story of one person being wronged. It's a systemic failure where the truth is manipulated to serve the agenda of the few. Let's pause and ask, how many others have been silenced in the name of protecting the powerful? How many more will be forced to choose between their conscience and their career? Who will stand up and say enough is enough? The emotional arc here is palpable. First, anger at the injustice, then empathy for Ruveni, a man who lost everything for doing the right thing. But that quickly turns to urgency. This isn't just about one person. This is about the safety and integrity of our entire justice system. We cannot let this go unchecked. No one is above the law, and no institution should be able to shield itself from accountability. Now, we need action. This is bigger than one whistleblower's story. This is about a call for transparency and accountability in a system that's supposed to serve the people, not protect itself at their expense. It's time to demand change. We cannot allow corruption to continue. Share this video, subscribe for more in-depth investigations, stay loud, because if we don't stand up now, we're letting them get away with it. We must fight for the truth and demand justice for those like Arez Ruveni who had the courage to speak out.